This video was recorded at the 2012 sugar beet harvest in North Dakota. Um, this is the piler that I worked on the majority of the time. Um, you can kind of see the length of the pile when we're completed. This was day one, so the pile is very small. These are the other two pilers that are across from the piler that I was working on, and the big culverts are attached to fans that allow them to put the beets in a state of deep freeze during the cold winters here. The truck in the front is a potato truck. It doesn't actually lift up. It's got a conveyor in the bottom and it's dumping its beets into the piler. And the truck behind it is just a regular uh, triaxle dump truck. The piler operator is in the cab on this end of the machine, and they operate the controls that raise and lower the dump gates, as you can see on the right side with this truck entering. And they also control a light tree that tells the truck driver what to do, whether they go forward or back into the dump station, or if they need to raise or lower their bed, or in the case of the potato truck, start their conveyor. The conveyor belt that you can see is dumping dirt into the potato truck. Every truck hauls dirt from their load that the machine separates out back to the field, and it's weighed out to make sure the farmer only gets paid for the beets and not for the weight of the dirt. As the piler operator, it can get very frustrating to operate the controls for the light tree because the trucks have complete control of their vehicle. So if they decide to dump their bed when you're not telling them to, that can create a serious mess, which happens on occasion. The skid steer loader down on the bottom is responsible for installing these culverts into the pile and adding sections as needed. And then he's currently backfilling beets up against the culverts, so when there's a landslide of beets, they don't get pushed out of position. The fans in the boxes on the end blow cold air when the temperature gets below a certain temperature here. It blows cold air into the bottom of the pile to cause the pile to get below freezing. And then in the North Dakota winters, where it gets way down in the teens or below zero, it causes the pile to go into a state of deep freeze. Then they have a machine that comes and smooths off the top of the pile, and they will put a tarp over it, and the piles will last until up into the spring, so they can be processing beets at the factory where you see the steam coming from in the spring. This is the view from the cab of the piler. You can see the beets are being dumped into what is called an end dump on the right side of the piler. And the end dump conveyor, you change the controls and turn that side on. And then it dumps the conveyors onto the main conveyor. They go up the chute and into the part of the machine that separates the dirt, which drops down on a conveyor. And then here you can see the dirt being dumped back into the truck on the other side. So the piler operator is a very multitasking oriented position. I left the volume here at full level for a few seconds just so you could hear the thundering sound of the beets flying through the machine onto the boom. It's very loud. There's a lot of beets flowing through there every second when a truck is being unloaded. And you can see the beets are thrown onto the top of the pile. And our pile was actually 30 feet tall. The pilers move very slow. We have to back them up to clean them. This is just a shot of the piler being moved. And you can see the massive extension cord that runs the piler. This is a view from inside one of the storage buildings where they also deep freeze beets. Um, these storage buildings are very large. I didn't get an actual dimension, but the pile in here I believe is 32 feet tall, maybe 34, and over 100 feet wide and 1,000 feet long. So there are a lot of beets in this building. You can see some of the muddy conditions that are required to be worked in. So waterproof boots, definitely recommended. I wouldn't show up here in tennis shoes. Um, the skid steer is just kind of stirring up the mud to help the sun begin to dry it out. The trucks this particular day had to be pulled out every time they unloaded, and that's the job of the John Deeres that you see in the background here, the other piler. Here's a night view one evening close to the end of harvest. You can see the pilers are almost at the end of their um, piling runways. And this is a view up in the cab on a day that we weren't actually running because of the wet conditions. We had to back the pilers up and clean the mud and stuff both out of the machine and away from the machine. So we had them backed away from the pile so we could get that done. At this time, the pile you can see there is um, quite massive, 30 feet tall, over 100 feet wide, and well over 1,000 feet long, which is a lot of beets. This is a small pile at the end of one of the buildings. I'll be ending the video with some still pictures, just a few. This is the largest extension cord I have ever seen, the piler cord. And then we've got some interesting shaped beets. The average beet was probably between the size of a avocado, maybe larger, and then up to a grapefruit or slightly larger. You'd had whole truckloads that came in that looked like a load of coconuts. And every now and then you would end up with a large red beet. Um, had some very, very beautiful sunrises and sunsets. These are both pictures of the same sunrise. Being around all these beets could make you really hungry, so we will have a future video about cooking beets. It gets cold in the shoal bus in North Dakota during the beet harvest. This was actually really close to the beginning of the harvest. It shut us down for a couple of days. Be sure and support the shoal bus and our adventure. Buy American Crystal Sugar. Thanks for watching.